So let's discuss the parameterized constructor. Parameterized, parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Okay. So what exactly parameterized constructor? So a parameterized constructor is one which takes some parameters. So a parameterized constructor A parameterized constructor is one which takes some parameters, some parameters, some parameters. So here some parameters refers like one, two, three. If a if a constructor is taking a single parameter, so we used to call it as a single parameterized constructor. So here some parameters in the sense um, any number of parameters it could be. If a constructor is taking single parameter we used to call as single parameterized constructor. If a constructor is taking two parameters, if a constructor is taking two parameters, constructor is taking two parameters, two params, we used to call as two parameterized constructor. Two parameters constructor. Again, similarly, if a constructor is taking if a constructor is taking three parameters, okay, it is called reparameterized constructor. Likewise, if a constructor is taking 10 parameters, we used to call it as 10 parameterized constructor. And if a constructor is taking n parameters in the sense it could be any number 10, 20, 30, 40. So we used to call it as a n parameterized constructor, or if it is taking number as 10, so we used to call as 10 parameterized constructor. Okay. So what is the syntax of it regarding the parameterized constructor? The syntax is the constructor will have a class name and every constructor will have a class name and it should be having a constructor name. So constructor name should be similar to the class name. And here we will be providing the list of parameters if any you want to provide. Okay. So here you will be executing the block of statements. Okay. Let's see an example. Okay. Let me create a class called bike. Okay. So a bike will be having parameters like bike name. I'll give it as bike name. Yeah, of course, it is having the engine CC, engine CC, or engine CC. It is the one, and it is different actually. Okay. Um, price. Yeah, good. Price. Okay. So these are some of the parameters and gears also we have to take. Gear, number of gears. Bike type also we can consider. Bike type, it is an electric bike or is a normal bike like petrol oriented one. Okay, so these are the parameters. Now I have to create a constructor using these parameters. How many parameters we have? Total 5 parameters we have. Okay, so first what I said, constructor name should be similar to the class name. So class name is bike, and the parameters I want to include is string bike name. I'll be reading the bike name. I'll be reading the engine cc, and price, double price. Okay, and number of gears, int number of gears, and we have a string bike type. Okay, let's maximize the screen. Okay, so this should be public, and now I want to read the value of bike name. Okay, so to my local parameter, actual parameter. Okay, I'll say this dot bike name equals to bike name. Fine. So now I'll say this dot, I want to read the engine cc. Engine cc equals to engine cc. Okay. This dot price equals to price. Now this dot number of gears equals to number of gears. Now again, this dot bike type equals to bike type. Okay. Fine. So how many parameters we have? We have 5 parameters. So we used to call this constructor as a 5 parameterized constructor. Okay. So how you will identify a constructor is a single parameterized or like multi-parameters or 5 parameters constructor by seeing the parameters you have passed. So here we have passed only one parameter. So it is single parameterized constructor. If we pass 2 parameters, so let's say string, I want to read the engine cc. So this dot engine cc goes to engine cc. So it is a, now it becomes 2 parameterized constructor. Okay. Whenever we create 2 parameterized constructor, or a parameterized constructor, a single parameterized constructor, it is always necessary to involve the default constructor. If we are not creating the default constructor, you will be getting an exception. The exception will say that there should be a default constructor. Okay, by object is created. It is mandatory. It is not optional. It is mandatory to have. Okay, let's say if I am not adding it, let me write the client app. So you'll come to know. If I try to execute it, it will say that I can't find out the default constructor. Please create the default constructor. Client app. Okay, here I'll say main. So I create a bike, new. Here I'll be passing the characteristics. What is the bike name? I'll be saying R15. My nephew like this bike. 1500cc. I'll be giving 1500cc for this. Number of gas, I'll say I'll give 6 gas for this. Bike type, it is petrol. Okay, and that's it. These are the price also.
Sir, hello.
Yeah. So yeah, my microphone was turned off. So I was like creating the bike client application. So there I was like creating an object of bike class. So I have given the properties of bike, like what the bike is having and all. So the bike will be taking the constructor. The bike constructor is taking the bike name, engine cc, price, number of gears, and bike type. So that's what we have given. Bike name, engine cc 1500 cc and price is 1,25,000, and I have given the number of gears as 6, and the bike type is petrol. Okay, fine. So let me run this one. Let's run as Java application. So I'll get a beautiful error. Let's see. Oh, it is not executing it. Okay, I'll do one thing. I think should be throwing an exception. Short with that. I'll do one thing over here. I'll write some sysout. Maybe this is changed after the Java 8, I think. Using Java 21. Bike name. Engine CC and price and number of gears. Okay, number of gears and bike type. Cool. Control X. Let's delete that one and wanted one. Formatted. Control Alt L. Let's run it once again. So it will print. Let's see. Yeah, it is printing the things. Okay. As I'm using the latest version of Java, they might be changed. So before Java 7, so we must and should add the, this bike constructor, default constructor. Bike default constructor should be there. So maybe in like Java 21, I'm using it. So because of that, maybe it is not throwing any exception. So otherwise it will throw an exception. Try using Java 7. So it will throw exception. Bike class, bike object is created. Bike object is created. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now, okay, I have one more constructor, right? So let me call that constructor as well. So that is a two parameterized constructor. So this is the two parameterized constructor. I just want to use this one as well. Okay, so bike name and the type, right? Engine CC. So let's create an object of bike. Bike one goes to new bike. New bike, and I'll be giving the bike name. I'll give the ZMR, Yamaha ZMR. Okay, so I'll be giving the engine CC. I'll give the 2500 CC because I like this one. That's why I'm giving. Okay, so let's go to the constructor. So here I want to add some sysouts. I'll add the bike name and CC. I'll copy from the previous constructor. I'll add over here. Okay, so let's see. Here I'll write one simple sysout statement. I'll say I am inside two param constructor. Okay, and I can copy this one and then add this over here as well and say I am inside 5 params constructor. So let's see this one. Let's run this application. Okay. So let's see the output. See, I'm inside the 5 parameter constructor and I am displaying this one, and so I'm inside the second constructor is also executed and it is printing. I'm inside the 2 parameterized constructor and the bike name and the CC. Okay, fine. Okay, we completed this 2 parameterized constructor. Let's see you in the next topic in object parameterized constructor.